Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 14, which was titled On These I Stand. The show picks up where we left off last week with an emotional exchange between Ralph Angel and Darla after she dropped that bombshell on him that Blue may not be his son. So Darla's trying to apologize and explain, that she didn't want to hurt Ralph Angel, that she just wanted to be happy and wanted them to be together, once she got her life all straightened out. And I know a lot of people, were saying, Darla, why didn't you just have a DNA test, once Blue was born? But I think people are forgetting that Darla was a crackhead. Like, in the abandoned house, having sex with random men on a dirty mattress with Blue by her side, crackhead. So I don't think she was in any position during that time, like when she first conceived, because she ended up getting pregnant because she went to a party where she was high and ended up sleeping with somebody. So, getting the DNA probably wasn't registering in her mind. And then by the time her and Ralph Angel decided to get back together, she was just looking at being happy. So the notion, like, I do believe that at this point they need to just go ahead and get a DNA and stop all this, tug of war and feeling sad and all of that. But during the time when she first conceived and when Blue was first born, I can understand why there was no DNA, because neither one of them was in a mental state. And then remember, Ralph Angel went to prison and he was locked up for like 4 years, so it probably wasn't even on her mind. And then Hollywood and Vi, they were taking care of Blue, so that's why there was no DNA in the beginning. So the camera zooms in on Ralph Angel, and he was looking so sad and pitiful. And Ralph Angel probably could give Tyrese some lessons on how to cry on camera, because did y'all see? And I'm not even going to get into Tyrese and them shenanigans he pulled yesterday. But anyway, Ralph Angel, very powerful performance. And, he's crying and he's visibly shaken and upset. And he really needs an award for that performance that he did. But, he tells Darla that he doesn't understand what she's saying right now. And if you've never had that moment where somebody drops something on you and you just can't even, it's not even registering in your brain what the person has said, and you're looking at them and you're hearing them talking, but you're just in a state of confusion. And so that's how Ralph Angel was. He was like, I don't understand, like, why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? And so Darla, was like, come on, Ralph Angel, we can talk about it, we can work through this. But he gets in his truck and he's looking at her, and then he leaves. And so Darla's just that whole imagery that they had going on with Darla in the distance, and she's crying and hoping that Ralph Angel don't get in that truck and drive off. And then Ralph Angel's in the truck and he's looking at Darla standing there, and she's just boohoo crying. So I'm gonna give y'all your kudos on that. That was some powerful acting in that scene. So Ralph Angel leaves and Darla calls in sick. I was just like, Darla, you ain't been to work this entire doggone since we've been. I don't think Darla been to work this whole season, but she did call in, tell Charley she wasn't gonna be in, and Charley didn't even wait for an explanation. She was like, oh yeah, yesterday at dinner that was an awkward situation, and I can see how it stressed you the hell out. So you go ahead and you take off. I got things under control over here. So while on the phone with Darla, two black farmers walk in. One guy's name was Luther and the other's name was Remy. And so they tell Charley that the Landrys is threatening. I guess they rent their land, or lease their land, their farmland from the Landrys. So the Landrys is telling the farmers that if they mill with Charley, get their sugarcane grind at Charley's mill, that they're going to rescind the lease on their property. So the the farmers, they're kind of like in a catch-22. It's like we damned if we do and we damned if we don't. So Charlie's like, they can't do this. I can get you guys some legal representation, but the guys are like, we need to get our sugar grind, and we ain't got time to be fighting with the Landrys and being caught up in a lawsuit and all that. And Charlie, we wish you the best, but we just can't be a part of what's going on. After they leave out of her office, Charlie calls Martin Bennington, and remember, he's the guy that she met, that her mom introduced her to when they went out to play golf. And so she was about to say, this is Charlie Bordelon West, but then she catches herself and she goes, this is Charlie Bordelon. And at first I was thinking, oh, she remembers she's not married anymore. But then as the show went on, the reason she didn't say West was because she trying to be sneaky. She trying to play, Charlie about to play a game that I don't know if it's going to work in her favor. So anyway, she talks to Mr. Bennington, and then as she's hanging up the phone with him, Remy comes in. So Remy shows up, and he's talking about how he had a good time last night and this morning. So I think I said in my last recap that I didn't know whether Remy had done spent the night or what was going on. So he confirmed that he did spend the night, even though nothing happened between the two of them, that they just talked all night long. And so Charlie, she's trying to force herself to settle for Remy when she know doggone well she don't want that man. But she's like, Remy's a good man. I ain't got nothing else going on. Might as well go ahead and give him a try. He might be the best thing that happened to me. So she trying to talk herself into that situation. But I'm telling you now, Charlie, I done been there. Don't do it, girl. If the feelings ain't there, don't be trying to grow, especially in this day and age. Like maybe, back when our parents were coming up, or well, when my parents was coming up, you married somebody because they were a good man and a good provider, and the one you wanted, he done gone on about his business, ain't thinking about you, so you might as well settle for the one you with. But in 2017, Charlie, we not doing that. We not doing that. Okay, let Remy go on and find himself a good woman. So Remy is there to talk about, ask her if she talked to Luther and Rainey. And so Charlie lets him know that, she just got off the phone with Martin Bennington, and he asked her if she was trying to poach a Landry from a Landry. He's like, Charlie, you really don't want to be in a fight with these people, but Charlie ignores the question and asks him if he can go over to the farm and do something for Ralph Angel. And then Remy had this look on his face like, did this helper just really just talk over what I just said to her? Like, she gonna do what she wanna do, ain't gonna listen to what I'm saying. Remy, you better be watching them signs, because Charlie ain't thinking about you like that. So, Charlie, don't do Remy like that. Like I said, just let Remy go ahead on. So Remy, he felt slighted, but he got on up to go do what Charlie told him to do. But before he left, he bent over and gave her a kiss, and Charlie looking all confused like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. So later on, Martin comes to meet with Charlie, and he is clearly flirting with her. So he's doing his best to separate himself from Sam Landry and the rest of the brew. And so he says that not carrying the Landry or Boudreaux name has helped him a lot, and he's able to sleep at night with a clear conscience. So, Charlie says that blood is blood, but business is business. So she leading him on and getting into her little sales pitch as to why, he need to bring them 22,000 acres over to Queen Sugar Mill. So they go on a tour of the mill, and Martin, he really seems to be impressed with Charlie's operation. And so they share college stories about being in business school and traveling when they should have been studying. But Charlie said she went to Argentina, but while she was there, she was studying. And, she did good in school, I guess because she's black and a woman, so she has to be 2-3 times better than the man who can travel all over the world and put his studies to the side, but still walk away with a degree. So he asks her out on a date, and Charlie, she's talking about she's seeing someone. I'm like, oh, how convenient, Charlie. So he asked her, if it was too soon for her to be in a serious relationship, after her divorce was just finalized. So he concedes that they can go on, that it won't be a date, that it could be a business dinner. And whatever it's going to take to get him to spend some quality time with Miss Charley. So Charley agreed that that's what she was going to do. So then the following day, Remy comes by Charley's place, and she's opening a gift from Martin, and it was like a basket full of alcohol. And so Remy is looking at like, well, what's going on? What you got that from? So she's like, oh, I went out with Martin to dinner, telling about the sugar mill. And so it's like an inside joke between the two of us. And Remy picked up one of them bottles of liquor, and he's like, well, 1800s. Well, this is a pretty expensive joke. But what happened the day before when Martin had came to visit Charley was she had asked him did he want something to drink, and then he said he wanted some liquor or something. But Charley only had like water and a bottle of gin or something she had over there on that table. So I guess he was giving her the good stuff, so when she want to have some real business deals, people can take her serious with her liquor stock. Of course, Remy is in his feelings, and he's listening to Charley and watching her body language and everything. So I think he's starting to realize that Charley would do anything to win anything. Okay, you know what I mean? And so, he's thinking like, okay, well, dang, where does this leave me? Because I think Remy is understanding that all he really has to offer Charley is his love and his understanding, but Charley needs a whole lot more if she's going to win this game against the Landrys. So he says that he loves her mind and how she thinks and the fact that she's willing to do whatever, but Charley doesn't know whether to be flattered or insulted. And I was sitting there like, Charley, you talking about thank you, but I think that man just accused you of being willing to sleep with somebody to get what you want. So, Remy tries to warn her, about the game that she's playing, but Charley reminds him that she knows how to deal with men. I said, ooh, ouch. Like, I felt sorry for Remy in that moment, but I also hope that he was picking up on the messaging that Charley was sending. So let's move on over to Darla. So Darla's trying to reach Ralph Angel on the phone, and she's just calling and calling and calling and calling. So he finally picks up, and she's still trying to be rational. And then when being rational doesn't work, she finally breaks and tries to be angry about the situation. Like, she's not the one that just broke this man's heart. So then when that don't work, she starts to beg and ask him to please come home so they can talk about it. Y'all know. I said, Darla playing that role, because ain't that's how we are in real life. Darla went through all the stages that people go through when you done piss somebody off and they done walked out and you trying to get them to come back and see things your way. But Ralph Angel shut her up real quick. He said, what home? I ain't got no home no more. Like, you just done destroyed all of that. So then Darla starts to crying, and then Ralph Angel was like, whatever, help her, and hang up. Acting y'all asses off on this episode like that. There's some real hurt that y'all, both of them done experienced in real life before. That's the only way you can act that good in a scene, is if you have been there before. But Ralph Angel, I need you to understand that that's your house, Darla, over there in. And we ain't determined that Blue is not your child yet. So technically, you can go back to your house, tell Darla to get her stuff and get on down the road. Because remember, Aunt Vi signed custody of Blue over to you. So Darla ain't got custody of Blue. She can't take Blue nowhere. So go home and claim your child and claim your house and tell Darla and her peoples to get on down the road. So Darla goes to pick Blue up from school, and Blue wants to know why his daddy didn't come pick him up, because that's who he thought was coming. And I'm thinking, Darla, Ralph Angel hung up on you, so how you know Ralph Angel ain't on his way to pick Blue up? Like, you starting to act like these women out here that be trying to use them kids against them men. You really need to check yourself right now. So back at the house, Darla and her mom are talking, and they just done settled in at the house. Now, I ain't seen Daddy since he started this hailstorm, done created all this mess, and now he done dipped and damn disappeared. We ain't seen him at the house out there standing looking at the farm or nothing. He just was not in the episode at all. Okay, nowhere to be found. And Mama walking around the house like that's her hotel room. So were they staying with Ralph Angel and Darla? I am so confused at this moment. But anyway, Darla says that she's scared that Ralph Angel ain't coming back, but her mama lets her know that Ralph Angel is a good man and he's going to do the right thing. And then she tells Darla that she's blessed. And Darla said, well, I don't feel blessed, mama. So mama let her know that being blessed ain't about winning. Being blessed is about surviving your circumstances and living on to see another day and to give it another try. So then Miss Darlene says that she told Darla that they came looking for her 9 times after she cut them out of their life. And when they couldn't find her, she started back drinking. And so Darla looked at her like, you started back drinking. So then Mama explained that she had been sober for 23 years and that Darla wouldn't remember that because she was too young and she didn't want her to know that, she was an alcoholic at a certain point in time in her life. She said, but being back in New Orleans brought all that back to her. So I was like, okay, Mama, being back in New Orleans. So last week you said that when you came to New Orleans, you didn't really get the opportunity to enjoy yourself because y'all went from the River Walk to the French Quarter to dropping Darla off at the university. Now you acting like you had done experienced all of New Orleans. So I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if Darla mom and daddy are originally from New Orleans. I don't know what's going on with the storyline about Darla and her past. But mama said that not being able to find Darla led her back to drinking. So I was like, oh Lord. So it was in Darla's DNA to be an addict some kind of way. So then later on, she assures Darla that Ralph Angel just needs some time and suggests that her and Blue return home to give him some space. So Darla don't fall for it. So the two were playing on the piano, and so Darlene was telling Darla that it was time that Blue start to learn, how to play the piano and get some culture about himself. So Darla opens up about the night that she may have conceived Blue. And she lets her mom know that she was so high and out of it that she don't even really remember the night. And then her mom asked her, was there more than one guy? And Darla said she don't know whether there was one guy or a whole bunch of guys. It was like a whole blur to her. And then the mom was like, well, we done all had them moments in our lives where we just want to forget our mistakes. I'm sitting there like, Mama, your daughter just sat there and told you that she was so high that she had... It kind of brought out to me the whole thing how... So a crackhead can be in a situation where she end up having sex with somebody or have sex with multiple people and it's just crackheadish behavior. It's no big deal. But then a college student can get so drunk, go to a party and be so drunk that she have sex with, a man or multiple men at the party, and that's considered date rape. So I don't know if y'all picked up on that mama just like, okay, well, that's what happened to crackheads. They get high and they have sex with people that they don't know. But then we got this whole thing going on in society for real, where that would be considered, like if she was a college student at a party, that would be considered rape. So y'all got to make up your mind and find the balance in what's going on here. But anyway, mama overlooked it and said we all done did some things that we embarrassed about, but it's all about rising above it and, moving on from that situation. So, Darla thanks her mom for forgiving her and understanding that that was a horrible point in her life. And she says that she can't take Blue away from Ralph Angel and from the only family that he's ever known. But thank you for the offer. And then Darlene says, well, we're your family. We're Blue's family also. And we deserve the opportunity to get to know Blue as well. So I'm thinking either Darla mama know who Blue's daddy is, or the whole reason they came back was they realized that Darla done got her S together and that they still got time to save her from herself. And if they can get her on back to D.C., then they can mold her into the daughter, that they wanted her to be. Like maybe get her to go on back to college, get a degree, and start a real career. So I don't know, Darla. I don't know whether you need to stay there with Ralph Angel or if you need to go and get your second chance with your mama and daddy. So then we move over to Micah. So, first First of all, when is Michael gonna cut his hair? Because do y'all know that every episode, Michael high top fade gets higher and higher. That fade about this high now. He started to look like Bart Simpson, with that hair growing on top of his head like that. But anyway, I don't know how long Michael been at the school that he's at, but all of a sudden he notices a tribute to the Confederacy in a like showcase in the hallway at the school. And I'm thinking that the thing always been there. It was like a sword and a map of the old South, and then it had some pictures of General Lee or some soldiers or something. But Michael was standing there looking there like, okay, that shouldn't be there. So he getting all upset and in his feelings about this thing. And I'm like, now Michael, you the only black child we done seen at that school so far, so I don't know how far you want to push this. But he seems to be really upset about it. And so he has his white friend that's supposed to be all cool and woke and down for the call. So Michael shows the friend the display and was like, have you seen this before? And the boy like, well, yeah, I done seen this before. It's been here all along. And so then, he tells Michael that to pretend that the Confederacy and the whole Civil War and all that never existed is like erasing, if you erase that part of history from society and from the textbooks and everything, then you're also erasing how far we've come in terms of civil rights and freedom and stuff like that. So you can't pick and choose what part of history you want to be displayed, and we can't pretend like we just got to where we are by waking up one day. That it all works together, it's all there, and you can't change it, just pretend like it never happened. So then we have a scene with Michael where he's at the High Yellow with Kiki and they're studying, but Kiki realizes, that he's in his feelings about something, and she's like, boy, what's wrong with you? Tell me what's going on. So then Michael tells Kiki about the display, and Kiki was like, well, what you gonna do about it? So Michael's like, well, what can I do about it? And so they start talking about, all how in the news they're tearing down all these monuments of Robert E. Lee, and how, Michael can be the voice. And so Michael's like, well, those monuments that are coming down, they're on public property, but this is something that's on private property, and I don't think I can just go in there and tell these people. So Kiki says every cause has a voice, and you could be that voice to raise awareness, and if you don't speak up, you never know what the outcome could be. But Michael was sitting there looking like, I might need to go talk to my mom about this, because I mess around here and get kicked out of school. We're going to have a serious problem. So when he gets home, Charley sees Michael watching a video of a statue that's being torn down. So the two of them have a conversation about living in fear or choosing to rise above the circumstances. And so he tells her about the display at his school, and he admits that at first he didn't see anything wrong with it. But I guess, since his experience with the police officer, it's starting to bother him to have that there. And he said that flag with the X, I have to keep reminding myself that Michael, he was born and raised in California, and he probably wasn't used to seeing Confederate flags, out west. But I'm sure there's people out there who migrated from the South to the West who have those Confederate flags. But here in the South, walking out your house seeing the Confederate flag is no different than walking out your house seeing the American flag, and you just really don't pay it any attention. And so it kind of reminded me of, like I told you guys, my oldest daughter is a school teacher. So when she was teaching here, she lives in California now, but she was teaching civics, I think, when she lived here. And so one of her students, and I think it was a Mexican boy, he came in with this huge Confederate flag. And so they decided to hang the flag up in the classroom. And so she was basically teaching them that, the flag is a part of our history, but the flag doesn't have power, and it shouldn't stop you from, getting along with each other and, all this good kumbaya stuff. So that flag hung in her classroom for months. And so then the mayor, the guy who was the mayor of our city at that time, he came to the school, and so he was doing a tour of the classrooms and everything. So he went into the classroom. She said that the look on his face when he saw that Confederate flag hanging on the wall, she said it was like priceless. So after the mayor left the school, her principal called her to the, called to the side and said, Morgan, I think you may need to take that flag down, because the mayor didn't think it was appropriate to have the flag up there. Now, granted, my daughter's a black child. She's teaching mostly minority students, and the mayor was a white guy, but he was offended by the flag and what it would look like to have this flag, so she had to take the flag down. But I think it just goes to show that we give power to things that really have no control over us. And that's kind of like what Micah was doing. But Micah, he said that he saw the Confederate flag as a bull's eye on every black man who has to deal with the hatred and bigotry in society. So Charley admits that, pain and hate are in Louisiana. Oh, he had said that he wished they had never came to Louisiana and that they were still out in California. So then Charley, she admits that pain and hate are there in Louisiana, but there's also triumph and community, and that you got to learn to balance it out. So somewhere along that line, Charley didn't want to talk about that Confederate display at that school anymore, because she just segued into a talk about Remy and how, she wants to give Remy a chance, and how, he asked her, would she consider having any more kids? And Michael was looking at her first. He was looking like, what the hell this got to do with what we was talking about? Then he was looking like, wait a minute. You gonna give Remy a chance? That means you and my daddy ain't gonna have a chance to get back together. And then he was looking at her, and then he started thinking about, well, dang, it would be nice to have a little brother. So Michael went through a wide range of emotions in all of 5 seconds, but he says that Remy is a good man and he likes Remy, and whatever Charley want to do, he's okay with that. So then we move over to Nova. Nova just continues to seek lower and lower and lower and lower on my register. So she is back in her element. So the guy, I don't know if that guy's name is Rick or Red or what she be calling him when he show up, but he was the guy that in the first season used to come buy the weed from Nova and go sell the weed. Yeah, they think we don't forgot that Nova used to be the weed lady. But she done called this boy over and says that, she got this package for him and she wants him to go and pawn this package. So she opens up this doggone envelope and pours out that black pearl necklace that Dr. Dubois gave her. And I'm just like, really, Nova? Like, that man did nothing to you. If you didn't want that necklace, send that necklace back to him, or store that necklace away in your closet till one day when you come to your common sense. But I was so disappointed in her in that moment. But she, the boy said, well, do you want my peeps to hold on to the necklace? And then, maybe a week from now, you want to get the necklace back. But Nova was like, no, go ahead and sell the necklace and then use it. Take the money to pay for some party that they was doing. So I couldn't really understand, and I replayed the scene and was trying to hear. But now that Rick boy must really be from New Orleans, because those people from New Orleans, you can't understand nothing that they be saying. But all I heard was rent party. They were gonna have rent party, and then she was saying, because I know the brothers was sad. I don't know what. So they either was having a rent party or they was having a party because somebody died. Because she said, I know the brothers are down, since somebody died from OPP. I was like, I kept replaying that scene, like, what the hell is they saying? So now in the era that I grew up, OPP was other people's property. Okay, well, not really other people's property, but other people's coochie. But anyway, that's what OPP stood for. So I don't know what Nova and this boy was talking about. All I know was that they was going to pawn that necklace so they could have some money to pay for this party that they was throwing for somebody who either just got out of jail, was low on funding, or was dead. If y'all know, leave it in the comments and let me know. So after the guy leaves, Nova's out in her garden planting some irises or something. So then this lady walks up and Nova called her Mother Brown. And I couldn't figure out if Mother Brown was a politician or if she was just somebody that was well respected in the community. But she said something about those some beautiful Louisiana irises that Nova was planting. So I'm going to have to check that out because they were, some pretty plants. But she's there to tell Nova that the Ninth Ward is getting a block grant from the Department of Human Health and Services. I think she said HHS. Based off of the research that Nova had done on the Zika virus. So she wants Nova to be on the task force that oversees how the money is going to be spent. But Nova says that although she's flattered, she don't want to be in the boardroom. That's not her style. She wants to be right there in the community working with the people. But Mother Brown lets Nova know that it's not always about your style. It's about doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done. So she tells Nova, just think about it and, consider being on the board. And then she get on up and walk on off. So now we at this party. And I still don't know what the party was for. But the Rick guy, he introduces Nova to this group of young people. And he's real proud of Nova and, her accomplishments and her being on television and all that. But Nova seems to be bothered when people give her kudos about, the work that she's done. So one of the chicks that he introduced Nova to, she's like basically asked Nova, where your cameras at? She's like, we the only ones that's going to be privy to you peddling alternative facts. So she wasn't feeling Nova. And she basically told Nova that you need to make up your mind. Do you want to be in the boardroom or do you want to be in the community helping the people? And she felt that Nova doing the research and everything and telling them that Zika was a threat in the Ninth Ward was very self-serving and she didn't do it to help the community. So then Nova, she's all offended and in her feelings, she's telling the girl that she has very outdated thinking and that it's people like her that keep, them from progressing. And then she starts telling the girl about Mother Brown telling her about the block grant and all this stuff. And the girl was like, don't be name dropping with me. I was like, okay, Nova done met her match. So I don't know where this whole, like if the girl is going to have a reoccurring role or if it's time for, I think what it really boils down to is like kind of pushing Nova out of her comfort zone, because at some point, community activists have to rise to the next level and make room for the next generation to come in with their way of doing things. And so maybe having somebody to challenge her way of thinking and her way of doing things is what's going to push Nova to the next level. And if you guys remember at the beginning of the season, there was an incident where Nova was trying to, I can't remember, I think the lady was a district attorney and she kind of called Nova out for the same thing, like you creating this platform, but the platform is all about you, like you want to be the center of attention. And I think that's what the girl was doing. So maybe Nova, it's time for you to move out of that community activist role and go up to the next level, which could be politics, like maybe you can run for city council or, something like that, but you can't control the narrative at the community level if the people in the community are no longer feeling what it is that you're doing. And I think that's kind of like what Dr. Dubois was trying to explain to Nova, but what she wasn't listening. So I think we only have 2 episodes left, so maybe that'll be something that they explore in season 3 with Nova, getting her out of her own way and elevating her thinking. But I was glad to see somebody challenge Nova and not kissing her behind, because Nova seems to be happy with everybody patting her on the back and giving her kudos and making her think that she's the smartest person in the room. But she doesn't like it when people challenge her. So that's what you need, Nova. And maybe Dr. Dubois won't come back in the picture, but it's time for you to make some decisions, girl, because you can't control the Ninth Ward the way that you want to anymore. So let's move over to Aunt Vi. So Aunt Vi came in and she had the white bag that you get from the pharmacy, and she's looking in the bag and she looked up and saw Hollywood was back home. She didn't know Hollywood was coming back, and so Hollywood was there happy to see his baby. He done made some sandwiches for them for lunch. Hollywood told Aunt Vi, sit down and eat your sandwich. So, like, if y'all don't stop. So instead of being happy, you know, that Hollywood was home, she starts lecturing him about not calling, and, you know, he shouldn't be sneaking up on people and surprising people. And Hollywood was like, well, I thought you would have been happy to see me home. But instead you complaining like, why you can't never be satisfied. So Aunt Vi went on ahead and sat down and ate her ham and cheese sandwich that he had to fix for her. So it looks like Hollywood may be coming into some money from that accident on the rig. And so he was telling her that, you know, when he went to do the deposition, the people was telling them that they think that they were cutting corners and that's what caused the accident. And he tells Aunt Vi, you know, that he's about to make her big dreams even bigger, you know, because he's going to be there and they're going to blow up this baking business and everything going to be great. So after lunch, Hollywood is in the bedroom and he's unpacking his things when he notices the bag sticking out of Aunt Vi's pocketbook or handbag that's sitting at the end of the bed. So just as he goes to look into the bag, Aunt Vi walks up and she was like, I know you're not going through my purse. I don't go through your things. I don't sneak behind you and try and figure out what's going on with you. And I don't appreciate you doing it to me. So she turns around to walk out, but Hollywood go after her and he's like, let me tell you something. I ain't that dumb, Vi. It was like, because when you get vitamins, because she had told him that he asked her what was in the bag when she came in. She said it was some vitamins. So he was telling her that when you get vitamins from over the counter, they put it in a brown bag. But when you get a prescription filled, they put that in a white bag. And that was a white bag you came in there with, Aunt Vi. So what was in the bag? So two of them go back and forth, and then Aunt Vi finally breaks down, tells him that she went to the doctor, and the doctor said she got lupus. So Hollywood looked terrified. Like the thought of losing Aunt Vi had him like paralyzed, okay? And he's thinking that, okay, lupus, there's no cure for that, so she must be dying. But Aunt Vi lets him know that, you know, she ain't dying. She just got to make some lifestyle changes and do what the doctor tells her to do. But she's going to beat lupus and she's going to go on to live a very happy life. But she's going to be living that life by herself because she don't want to be Luann. Because Luann got the mental illness and Hollywood left Luann. So he was trying to explain to her that, you know, he was trying to explain to her that the situation with Luann is totally different from their situation. Because I think he only married Luann because Luann was pregnant. And then the baby died and Luann lost her mind and he had to get on up from out of there. But he was telling her value that he's there for the long haul and that they're going to manage this disease together. But Aunt Vi was like, it ain't going to be no together, Hollywood, you know, because I don't want to hold you down. You a good man. You deserve to be happy. But Hollywood let her know he ain't going nowhere. He was like, I'm going to be right here with you. We're going to get through this together. And by the way, them little annoying ass borderline kids, we're going to go and tell them too. And I was like, no, I don't want them to know. I don't want them to know. But, you know, he said that I'm Hollywood and you Vi and this is us. So like that, he didn't say this is us, because that's the name of the TV show. He said something like that. It was powerful, whatever he said. And just basically he was letting her know that they're going to get through this together. So then later on that night, Hollywood is dragging in Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel went to the bar and then got towed up from the floor. And so I was like, well, Ralph Angel, what's wrong with you? What's going on? So Ralph Angel was too drunk to tell Aunt Vi anything, so they still don't know about the whole Darla situation. So then the next morning, you know, Aunt Vi decides she's going to have a conversation with God. She was standing in that living room or dining room, wherever she was at, and she said, now God, I need you to hear me clear, and I need you to hear me real good. Whatever this is, take it back. Take it all back. And so she's standing there like, I need you to take it, God. And so the show ends with Aunt Vi, you know, she's praying in the background, you know, begging God to just take back all this karma, all this, well, not karma. So she's begging God, you know, take all this bad stuff that's happening to them, you know, the illness, the way the farmers are treating Charley, you know, whatever's going on with Ralph Angel that's got him sad, whatever going on with Nova that's got her and sent this good man on down the road. You know, she's like, take it back, take it back. So we hear the voice in the background, and then we get these cameos of Nova, and look like she's in her garden, you know, wondering what in the world going on. Then it goes to Charley, and she's in her office, and she's thinking about how she gonna beat them Landrys. And then Darla, you know, she's in the kitchen trying to figure out how she gonna get Ralph Angel back, or if she need to go on to DC with her mama and daddy. And then it goes to Ralph Angel, and he's at the family, I don't know if it's like a mausoleum that they have, or, you know, if it's Ernest's grave, because remember the tombstone had all the family members' name. But anyway, he's there, and he's boohoo crying like, how did everything be so great one day and now it's all crashing down around me? And then it goes to Blue, and Blue is digging in a garden, and I couldn't figure out if it was Nova's garden or if it was a garden at Aunt Vi's house or at the farm or what it was. But then he's digging, and you can see someone walk up, and then the screen fades to black, and as the credits are rolling, then you hear him exclaim, "Here it is!" And so we're like, well, what in the world is going on? But I did see a image from next week's episode where it's Blue, Darla, and Nova. And they're standing by this garden. So I don't know if that was Nova that walked up while he was digging in the ground. I don't know if Grandma Darlene done buried the Kenya doll, because I remember Blue having that Kenya doll in this episode. But remember in last week's episode, she took that doll from Blue, because when she was sitting there talking to Aunt Violet, she had that doll in her hand and she was hitting it in the palm of her other hand. And I was thinking to myself then, I said, let me find that doll. You gonna throw that doll in the garbage can. So maybe she had done went and buried that doll out in the garden and was working some voodoo on that situation. I don't know. But anyway, I did see I read a synopsis for next week's episode, and when Charley found out that Darla, you know, what went down between Darla and Ralph Angel, she's going to fire Darla. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I read that somewhere on the internet. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Leave your comments below, rate the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.